Hello everyone! With 2024 in the rear view, we decided to take a look back at some of the games that just let us down. This could be by having a mechanic that didn't work, or because the game itself just didn't click for us, or perhaps it was because it came so close to being good, but fell short. Regardless, here's our list of games we hope you enjoyed more than we did. So I know this is supposed to be a top 5, but I have a dishonorable mention, I guess, and that for me is Sea of Stars. Everyone raved about this game, and while the Chrono Trigger / Mario RPG influence is very clear and pretty cool, I just found most of the characters flat or annoying. The story didn't grip me, and the big holy crap moment that a lot of people were hyped about had me feeling nothing beyond the urge to just move on already. This game had a lot of really great elements, but for me, the story and the writing was a major letdown. Number 5.
I hate to say it when a game is a disappointment because I know the developers put their heart into it, but sometimes the games just don't work. Unfortunately for me, Trek to Yomi was one of them. First of all, the black and white graphics, which while my dad liked it, didn't really work out for me. I couldn't see the enemies sometimes, so deaths kind of felt cheap. The story didn't make a lot of sense either, and it kind of just dragged. It's too bad. Dad was really excited for this one.
So this is one we actually agree on. Look, I grew up loving the old-time samurai movies, so the aesthetic of this one was right up my alley. There were shots of this game that I just sat there taking it in, and it was glorious. But the combat got bland. Some enemies coming out of nowhere to kill you because you couldn't see them was super annoying. The story meandered a bit, and it did the thing I hate where the villain loses to you, but somehow just keeps coming. It's not terrible, but it just wasn't as great as I'd hoped it would be.
Number 4. Dad always says that sometimes you play a game and wonder if you're playing the same game that everyone else is. John d'Arc is that for me. I just didn't get the appeal here. Sure, the armlet transformations were cool, but beyond that, not much worked. The attack accuracy was just all over the place. The story was kind of meh, and the characters, good lord, that is a hard pass for me. Only game I can think of I got relieved when a character died, just so they couldn't annoy me anymore.
Oh, Chris Tales. If there was an Icarus metaphor that I played this year, it's you. This game had such a charming art style, some fantastic voice work, one of my favorite characters in any game with Zaz, and a really neat gimmick. Unfortunately, they did nothing with said gimmick. The game had wild difficulty spikes, and the ending was some of the most anime BS ever. Chris Tales is on this list because it did so many things right, but failed to hit some of the major notes. It was so close to greatness, but flew too near to the sun. Number 3.
Alright, I'm gonna piggyback off Dad here and say that my number 3 is Chris Tales. There were a lot of good parts here, and as he said, they had a really cool gimmick. But yeah, they didn't really do anything with it. The ending was bad, but ultimately, like my dad said, it's here because there was so much potential that was just wasted, and that's disappointing.
It kind of pains me to put Terra Memoria here, as I know it was done by a small team, and they did a lot right. The Breath of Fire vibe is heavy, and I love the art style. But as I said in our review, this is like taking Breath of Fire, Dark Cloud, and Zootopia, mixing it together and sucking out all the soul. The story made little sense, the combat was a blast, but ultimately let down by said story, and perhaps worst of all, the Dark Cloud-like city building elements were almost completely optional. They had a chance to do something really cool there, but dropped it. I really hope this team gets a chance to do more, as I believe there's talent and potential there, but this just wasn't it for me.
Number 2. Another game I'm wondering if I'm playing the same game. My number 2 is Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance. All we saw on Twitter was how awesome this game is, and I'm like, really? Sure, the animations were cool, Naruto run, and the demon designs were really cool, but the story just took off in a weird way. The characters didn't make much sense, and I had a really hard time getting into it.
Oh, SMTV-Vengeance, how I wanted to love thee. But unfortunately, I have to agree with the voice placement here. As a big Atlas fan, I was super hyped to pick this one up, as it was the definitive version of a game I heard a lot of good about. I loved the character models, and the combat was neat, but that was pretty much it. The big open world felt disjointed to the story. The writing, especially at the end, felt ham fisted and, frankly, pretty bad. I found myself just pushing through to complete it because I hate leaving games unfinished, but this is one I have no desire to ever touch again, which is really sad considering how insanely hyped I was. Number one.
Alright, this one hurts. My biggest disappointment for 2024, Sonic Stumble Stars. I mean, Superstars, sorry. I got this one for Christmas last year, and I love Sonic, so I was really excited for this. For about the first 10 minutes. The game seemed dead set on making you slow down. Let me make this clear. They want you to slow down in a Sonic game. There has to be a law against that somewhere. And for as much focus as there was on multiplayer, it wasn't done very well. The ending was just so blah, and some of the design choices just didn't make any sense. Like, why does Amy have to jump in order to use her hammer? Usually, Mom just swings away. I mean, that just seems a little odd to me. Anyway, this just felt really rushed and half-baked, which is sad considering how big Sonic is right now.
At number one for me, my biggest disappointment of 2024 has to be Jeanne d'Arc. I absolutely love a good strategy RPG, and this is one I never got to play. So when it was announced for coming to the PlayStation Store, I was really excited. Many people I know whose opinions I trust were hyping this up, and it just wasn't very good. For many of the reasons the boy gave, I found the story to be bad, the characters super annoying, and ultimately, like Vengeance, we had to force ourselves to complete this one, and sadly, never touch it again.
So those are our top 5 letdowns in 2024. Have you played any of these? What are some games that didn't measure up for you last year? Whatever your thoughts, please support us with a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks everyone!